Welcome back, Fit Life Champions, to week 2 of your virtual workshop, Prep Wars. I hope you all had a wonderful time prepping your meals this past week. Hope you had some success getting through the busy work week with your breakfast, snack, and lunches. A few things we're going to highlight this week. The principle of meal prep primarily, specifically, is portion control. I'm going to share with you an infographic that I've received from my nutrition certification. I'll walk you through it, and we will be able to more easily meal prep based on portion control. Let's begin there. I will momentarily share that with you. Walk you through how to read it. Here you go. Portion control guide. How to avoid calorie counting. But we will cover that in a moment. Let's try this instead. Based on the size of your hand being proportionate to your body, we can determine how much protein you need, how much vegetables you need, how many carbs you need, and how many servings of fat you need per meal. So there's a difference between male and female dietary requirements. So comparison on the left versus the right. Step 1, let's talk about protein. Men, we're going to need about 2 palm-sized portions of protein. Women will need about half that size. Step 2, take a look at the closed fist. Men will need 2 portion sizes of vegetables, and women will need about half that. Flip the palm face up, slightly cup the hand, and that's how many carbohydrates we need. An estimate of 40 to 60 grams of carbs, or 160 to 240 calories. And then finally, our fats. So notice how the thumb is next to the plate, and then you have your portion of almonds that are each about a thumb size. You can equate that to about a tablespoon. So look at the estimate of the calories. Men eating 3 to 4 meals as outlined would get around 2,300 to 3,000 calories each day. So in our philosophy of meal prep, we talk about 3 main meals per day and then 2 large snacks, maybe even a third large snack near the end of the day. So men eating 3 meals as outlined above will be right around 2,300 calories. We'll talk about that in a moment, how to determine how many calories per day you need. Now, how to customize it for you. If you need more food, use these strategies on the left-hand side. You eat less frequently throughout the day, you're very active, or you're trying to gain muscle. If you need less food because you may be smaller, you eat more frequently throughout the day, you're not as active, or you're trying to lose weight, then right down here at the bottom, for men, if you want to add muscle mass, add in a cupped handful of carbs or 1 additional thumb of fat, and then women, half of that portion size. If you're trying to lose weight, on the right hand side, men remove that same cupped handful of carbs or 1 thumb of fat from a few meals each day, and then women half of that if you're trying to lose weight. Now let's get back on track. We're going to talk about those particular goals. 2,300 calories estimate per day for men. How do we get a little bit more specific than that? Take your body weight and multiply it by a specific number based on how active you are and what your goals are. If your goal is to lose weight and you're sedentary, meaning not very much exercise throughout the day, take your body weight and multiply it by 10, and that's how many calories per day you're going to need. We'll discuss how to accurately track that in a later week. If you're moderately active, multiply that body weight times 12, still looking to lose weight. And if you're very active, also in the weight loss category, multiply your body weight by 14. You'll remember in your registration form, it defined what sedentary, moderately active are, and very active are. If you're trying to gain weight and you fall into one of those categories, sedentary, moderate, or very active, simply just email me and we'll have a separate discussion. I won't have the time to cover how to gain weight today, but we will discuss it at a later date individually. Moving on, let's talk about carbohydrates. That's our main focus for the week. I'm going to give you a few definitions of carbohydrates. Let's start with a simple carbohydrate. And the simple carbohydrates are quick energy, such as fruit, such as a raw vegetable, like a green pepper. We're going to slice that, like we showed you last week, in our snacks, or diced into each of our meals. And then finally, let's discuss a complex carbohydrate like a sweet potato or oatmeal, which is a focus menu item for the week. Carbohydrates get a bad rap. And when people discuss carbs in layman's terms, they're generally talking about pasta and bread. But when we talk about carbs moving forward, we're going to talk about healthy carbohydrates only, simple carbohydrates, and complex carbohydrates. One of the keys to weight loss, one of the keys to reaching your goals is to eliminate processed breads, processed pastas. So over the course of your 12-week workshop, we're going to show you tips and tricks on how to eliminate those two things from, or excuse me, moderate those two things in your diet. But before we do so, I do want to talk about fruits versus veggies. A common goal of our viewers is weight loss. So we'll focus on that for this particular week. How many portion sizes of veggies and fruits should I be getting in my diet? Based on our body type, we're going to have a good generalization of how many fruits and veggies we need in our diet. Think back to that registration page that you filled out at the very beginning of our workshop, and you most commonly selected mesomorphic and endomorphic body types when answering that questionnaire. And that comes into importance when we're talking about veggies and fruits. If you're mesomorphic, your goals may be to gain muscle or lose fat or improve sports performance. Typically, your carbohydrate tolerance is moderate on the scale. So you're going to take one portion of fruit per day and compare it to 4 portions of veggies per day. So for every one piece of fruit that I eat, I want to have 4 times the same amount of veggies, and that's going to help us get to our goals. If we selected endomorphic on our registration form, we're going to have a little bit less of a carbohydrate tolerance, so we're going to take a different ratio, 1 fruit portion per day to 5 portions of veggies per day. And refer back to your precision nutrition the calorie guide that we just covered on how to measure out 1 cupful one cupped handful of veggies. Now to the exciting part of week 2. I want to make a special announcement. Go ahead, throw my book to the side. Why are we doing homework every single week? This is the exciting part about PrepWars. This is the accountability portion of the service that I provide to you. PrepWars came out of the accountability part of my clients trying to one-up each other on how well they can meal prep their food. So I'm very, very excited to announce a prize for the person who turns in the most homework over the course of the 12 weeks. You can get creative with your posts on social media, hashtag PrepWars at FitLifeChampions, and you'll be entered into the contest to win a tabletop spiralizer. I am obsessed with this spiralizer. It can spin zucchini into noodles. It can spin sweet potatoes into noodles. Coming up with a ton of recipes that I'm going to share with you over the course of the 12 weeks. Later on when we talk about dinner. To kind of spice up what we're trying to do here. We're trying to reach our goals, but we're trying to make it interesting as well. So I want to announce a special prize at the end of 12 weeks. The PrepWars Warrior with the most homework submissions receives that spiralizer from us at Fit Life Champions. Now, before we gather on Sunday, actually doing our PrepWars Periscope, I would like to set you up for success. So men and women have different needs, like we just covered in our calorie counter and our how-to guide, how to measure that using just your hand. For time's sake and for cleanliness sake, I'm going to use actual measuring cups for this demonstration. For my female clients, take your half cup measuring cup, scoop out your oatmeal, and start with it in a Ziploc bag. This recipe is up on the blog as of now. I want you to take slivered almonds, and a tablespoon. That's all we had left was a tablespoon of slivered almonds. Also pour it into your Ziploc bag. And then finally, we're going to also take a 2 teaspoons of chia seeds and another teaspoon of chia seeds. Chia seeds are an excellent source of fiber, which helps clean out our digestive tract and keep our digestive tract working the way that it should. It's another source of carbohydrates that we won't discuss in depth in PrepWars. It's a bit complicated for the principles that we want to cover. So here is the basis of your overnight oatmeal. In the blog that's up on fitlifechampions.com, you can review recipes on how to spice up your overnight oatmeal. That's a female portion size. This is your breakfast if you choose. 1 to 2 days of this upcoming week. For men, simply just add another half cup of oatmeal. Make 5 of these, make 6 of these on Sunday this coming week. I will not highlight it in the PrepWars Periscope because we just talked about it here, but I do want you to head on over to Fit Life Champions blog and check out those recipes from Quaker Oats. They've added frozen fruit. They've added a lot of flavor to their overnight oatmeal recipes, but please remember that if they use dairy, substitute it for almond milk or coconut milk. Stay tuned for next week. Good luck to all those Fit Life champions who are trying to earn themselves a tabletop spiralizer by posting as many creative PrepWars social media posts as possible. Again, hashtag PrepWars at Fit Life Champions so we can count them up. Thank you. Have a great week saving time and money with PrepWars by preparing your meals ahead of time.